relating to Eric, we knew that the first call was in 2002, and then the next few weeks he calls in, and then there comes a point when he does turn on Howard, and that's the Eric that most of us have come to know and love. The fact that within about 4 or 5 calls, he's already threatening to sue Howard. He's looking for an attorney to sue Howard for calling him an evil midget. I don't know what the cause of action would be for calling someone an evil midget. And it's weird because Eric's defense to that claim was basically saying he's not evil and he's not a midget. I think technically he is a midget, whether that's the PC term or not. Do you know if that's correct?
I don't know, but he definitely has the evil part locked down. I mean, here you are being welcomed onto this huge show, and within 4 or 5 calls, you're ready to sue the show that's welcoming you. That's pretty evil.
Which is awesome. And he doesn't just go for any attorney. He wants Star Jones to represent him in the lawsuit.
Speaking of Star Jones, I intercepted an email that Eric sent to Star Jones. He wants her to legally represent him so he could sue me.
What?
Yeah.
So what are you calling for?
Because he's insane. What?
How did you get that?
I get everything, dude.
So it's true.
Yeah.
So get off our airways. What do you want?
Dear Miss Jones, you're a lawyer. Howard Stern says I'm an evil midget. I'm not evil and I'm not a midget.
So sue him.
I don't know what you are, but you might be insane.
Eric, if you were famous, maybe she'd write you back.
Yeah, you weren't on the red carpet last night, were you? So he's not interested.
Oh.
All right, here's High Pitch Eric. This is your last time. I'm done with you unless I get an apology. Where's my apology?
I'm sorry.
Are you sincere?
Yes.
Say, Howard, I'm never writing another person again about suing you.
Howard, I'm never writing another person again about suing you.
That's nice.
Sheesh. I can't believe that.
Thank you, Eric.
But then him and Howard, they negotiate, and Howard said he's going to countersue Eric. I forgot the grounds, but then they both agree to drop each lawsuit or potential lawsuit.
But by the way, can we just circle back to the evil, which is he could get any attorney, but he wants Star Jones. Why? He wants to make it personal. Wants to make it personal. He wants it to hurt. That's evil.
It's a good point because in addition to trying to hire Star Jones, he lodges a complaint with the FCC. Michael Powell, who was the chairman at the time, they intercept that complaint as well. So, yeah, you're right. He was trying to bring down the show. Technically, a complaint like that could lead to the show being canceled, as crazy as that sounds. So Eric knew where to hit.
Yeah, he was not playing games. He was letting them know he's not having it. Whatever that it may be, because a lot of times when he would get upset, and a lot of times nobody would know what the hell he was upset about. So he went for it, always.
So we're into 2002, and then we move to 2003. And the first call we're going to listen to is Eric wants to know about the race for governor in California. And it's an interesting thing your ex-boss says to Eric that I believe is really relevant to potentially why a lot of fans have stopped listening to the show. So let's listen to that call.
Eric, I got to move along. I got so much to do. If you have something specific you need me to help you with, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to get something to the candidates. I wanted to ask them what a couple of things about their policies and stuff.
So why are you calling us?
Why don't you call their office? I don't know what the candidates are doing over there in California.
Well, the reason why I called you, you're a nationally broadcasted radio show.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Listen, Eric, I don't even care. I'm going to support Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you know why? I'll show you how shallow I am. I don't know one thing Arnold stands for, but I know he always did my show.
Right.
And the guy always did my show, even when he was at the top of his game, and he's doing, the first Terminator, and he's doing all these movies. And he comes in like a man, and he sits down, and he gives me an interview. And there's a lot of A-list celebrities who won't do that, but he did it.
Right.
So he's our guy.
And when he wins, I want to see what I can get out of it. In other words, would I get to come to the governor's...
The inauguration?
The inauguration. What would he give me? What would Howard Stern get to be legitimized?
Right.
Because I just want to have somebody give me some respect. You understand? So I don't give a rat's ass about the other 139 candidates. I don't know Cruz Bustamante from a hole in the wall.
Well, I'm registered Republican, so I would be voting for Arnold.
Do you think Donald Trump is a bigger celebrity than Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I think before he was elected president, the answer is no. I think more people would recognize Arnold walking around than a Donald Trump. I think after his presidency, yes, he is a bigger star.
Yeah, and that's correct. Obviously, once you become president, you're the most powerful person in the world.
But I mean, that's saying something to Schwarzenegger. You got to be president to outdo him. He's pretty popular.
But you would agree at the time, I mean, they're both A-list celebrities.
Sure, absolutely.
And could Howard been speaking about Trump as he was speaking about Schwarzenegger?
I mean, listen, if you don't know the guy, if you've never listened to him, yeah, you could easily make that connection. But if you know this guy that we've all listened to for, almost 40 years now, even if he got a fucking invite, he's not going anywhere. He doesn't want more shit to do. What does he want, a cabinet post? He doesn't want any of that shit. He wants to talk about it. He wants to say that shit on the radio because it's funny. And there's a lot of people out there who are called politicians who actually do work that way. What's in it for me? What do I get out of this? So I think it's great content. It's just him flexing his genius muscle, just making a great bit out of it. And what are the, you can't write, let's write something where a handicapped midget calls in and says he has some questions for the candidates. Like, you can't write shit like that. It's so random. It's so Eric. And the fact that he's insulted that they don't change the format of the show to satisfy what he wants.
Your former boss, Howard, is a lifelong Democrat when it comes to presidential elections. We've seen him sway from the Democrat side on non-presidential elections. In fact, he ran for governor for a different party, not Republican, not Democrat, but a separate party.
Libertarian.
Right. But there's never been a time where he voted for a Republican president. And like most people, your politics are generally formed by your parents. His parents, Howard's parents, are Jewish people from Long Island. Generally, before Trump, it was all Democrat for Jewish people. Now, I did see a huge change. The Long Island Democratic Jewish person, there's a huge shift towards Trump. Not necessarily the Republican Party, but towards Trump. Your boss and a lot of others stuck to the path of, we're going Democrat. Now, the crazy thing is, you would have to agree that Trump always gave Howard a show.
Oh, yeah, he was a great guest. I mean, as far as, guests that will work with the host and go with what you throw their way, he never once said, I'm not going to answer that. That's offensive. He rolled with everything. He answered every question. He didn't flinch, man. That makes for a phenomenal guest.
So to me, Howard is hypocritical when he's dealing with Trump. And my theory is that his rejection of Trump is the reason the show lost a lot of listeners.
Based on what you're saying, the listeners left because he rejected Trump?
Yeah, because when you're listening to Howard post-Trump and leading up to the election, there's so much sway towards the liberal Democrat side. And the scary thing is, or the sad thing is, as we hear Howard talking about Schwarzenegger, and he'll support Schwarzenegger regardless of his views, because he came on his show and he gave him a good show. Now, Trump did that. Hillary, conversely, in 2016, refused to come on Howard's show. And Howard has admitted that he basically begged the higher-ups for Hillary to come on the show pre-election. Now, I agree with Howard that would have been a smart move for Hillary to do. Because, I mean, someone like me, I'm not anti-Hillary. Actually, I like Hillary. And a lot of people don't that voted for Trump. So in 2016, were you registered to vote?
Yes.
Did you vote in the presidential election?
Yes.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Trump.
I had a feeling you did, and I didn't know if you were going to answer that question, but you're a man for doing so. In the next show, we're going to just talk about religion only. But here, we're going to say, when you vote for Trump, to me, it's almost a death sentence when you're on the Stern Show. I don't know if I have any proof to back that claim, but I would say that at least if you advocate for Trump, you're not going to be there that much longer.
Well, let me throw this out. So, I voted for the guy, one, because I'm not a huge fan of the Clintons. There's a lot of dirty shit going on with those. And I'm not a fan of politics. I don't get involved in politics because I don't believe any of them. They're all career bullshit artists. None of them have our best interest in mind. None of them. The people who do not make it up that ladder. They do not get to a point where they can make a difference and make a change. It's just the facts. So for me, what drew me to Trump is this guy comes out in these debates and he starts roasting fuckers, right? He's giving people nicknames. He's goofing on this one, goofing on that. And I'm going, fuck, this is phenomenal. As a comic, it's a wealth of material. Also, it's like, here's a guy who's not by the book, who's not the same shit that you see every 4 years in these elections, the same robot standing up there talking about this and that and the other. I say, you know what? The guy doesn't have a chance in hell, but I'll fucking vote for him before I vote for her. Had nothing to do with her being a woman. Had nothing to do with her being a Democrat. Has to do with just their history of what they do and like they're not very pro-Israel as a lot of people think they are. And for me, it was like whatever. It's a throwing away a vote because no way in hell is Trump going to win this fucking election. And then he won, and I was like, holy shit. And, I wasn't happy with a lot of what he did. I wasn't a fan of his term. But there was some stuff that he did that I was a fan of, that he, he didn't go down the road of the politician route where, I mean, look, they're all doing dirty shit. Nobody's perfect. And just to want to have that job says a lot about you as a person. And so, yeah, but I got the message pretty quick that if you voted for Trump, it was going to be a hostile environment for you. But at the same time, nobody ever came to me and said, why? Why'd you vote for Trump? Or how do you feel about him now during the election? And nobody ever asked me. I would have gladly talked about it, but, it wasn't something that was brought to me.
Yeah, well, I was just speculating. I mean, I didn't know. Did you announce that you voted for Trump?
I think one time they brought us in because they had known that I voted for him in the back office, but they brought us in. I think it was me, Ronnie, and Sal, and Mehmet. I think we were the ones who voted for Trump.
Yeah, because I was going to run through a list of the show members, and I wanted you to give us your opinion on whether they voted for Trump or not secretly, right? So they can say that they're voting for Hillary or voting for Joe Biden, but behind the scenes...
Who voted for you to buy that shirt and wear it? That's what I want to know. That's the real travesty here.
Why? Because it's pink?
Yeah. Your skin tone is almost the same color as that shirt.
Okay. Eric, the actor, had his politics switch. He actually set forth in this conversation that he's a Republican. Eric's dad, Clark Lynch, he's a retired detective from the Bay Area, and his mom was...
We probably don't want to put his name out then if he's a fucking detective.
Well, his name was put out there, and also the fact that he was in law enforcement was put out there several times. Johnny Fratto would always bring that up, where Eric would mention...
Thank you for your service, sir, Mr. Lynch. Thank you for your service, sir. Just want to state that. This is Vin's idea. Thank you. Go ahead, Vin.
So Eric's dad, a retired police officer, Johnny Fratto, would make several references to the fact that Eric would bring that up if Johnny owed Eric money. or some other conflict that they would have, Johnny would make that reference. So we knew that. And also, Eric's brother, Brandon, is a firefighter, full size. That's came up as well through the course of Eric's calls. So back to the political affiliation, Eric was a Republican that was influenced by his parents, but then he eventually switches to Democrat, and I think that Howard had an influence on him. This comes about when George W. Bush was in office, and after the 9/11 issues, then Howard is pro-Bush, then he flips back to anti-Bush. So Howard goes back to his Democratic ways for the presidential election. Did you ever interact with Trump at all?
No, never.
Did he make any attempt to contact the show post-election?
I do not believe so. I mean, unless he called like the main hotline and the screener picked it up and he's like, "Hey, it's Trump." Then I'm sure the screener at some point would be like, "Hey, you're not gonna believe who called in today," but that call was never made, as far as I know.
To me, Trump is probably classified as a narcissist. Howard is not a narcissist. Robin is. Howard's mom, this is a huge, she's a narcissist. And the weird thing about Howard is where if you're a child of a narcissist, you're so likely to develop an OCD or anxiety disorder. And it's classic. And I don't know if Howard ever addresses the fact that his mom is a narcissist. And the coolest thing about narcissists is they'll cut you off quickly. If they feel that they've been threatened, you'll never hear from them again. The only people they keep around are supplies, people that will lift them up in their opinion. So I believe once Trump finds out that Howard abandoned him and went for Hillary, he's not even going to bother calling in.
Yeah, I see a lot, it's like taking the rear view and just flipping it up into the air. You're like, I'm not looking behind me for shit. I'm moving straight ahead. Kind of like the way I did when I left New York.
So there came a time when Eric actually spoke with Donald Trump. Do you recall that?
I really don't, man. I'm very excited to hear this because this is going to be all new to me.
All right, so let's go to 2005. Trump called in to pitch his latest season of The Apprentice, and Howard picks up on Eric.
4 is the best we've ever done. It's even better than 1.
Hold on one second. Someone needs to talk to you. Yes, Eric the Midget. Eric?
Hello? Yes, Eric.
What is it, Eric? This is Eric the Midget.
I just wanted to talk to Mr. Trump because I am interested in getting into the hotel business, and I have some ideas.
I'll allow you 3 seconds with Mr. Trump.
He should be on The Apprentice.
Is Eric running?
Maybe we should put Eric on The Apprentice. He'd be perfect.
Eric, listen to me. There's no time for nonsense. Give Mr. Trump your 2 best ideas.
So right before he pitches his ideas, we do know that Eric does get a certificate for hotel management.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go to college for it, but he did enroll in a correspondence course, and he does get his certificate in hotel management. So here is Eric pitching.
Which, by the way, can you just imagine checking it? You've been flying all day. You get your rental car. You get to the hotel. This little fucker's like, a continental breakfast starts at 9:30. Hotel management. You turn around, you go right back through that revolving door. You go and stay in a different place.
I know it's hard to say, but it's true. You really don't want to see a little person. I
remember I went to this movie theater in Vegas. It's in the Rio Hotel. Me and my buddy. It was one of the Spider-Man movies, and we got fucking stoned, and we were walking in, and we get our tickets, and we give it to the guy who's ripping the ticket, and he's got like flipper arms, and he's like for like 30 seconds trying to rip a paper ticket, and I'm thinking to myself, that's the job you give this guy out of all the fucking jobs here. That's the first stage. We're gonna meet this guy now.
Give me a hard pitch, Eric.
Okay. The top idea I have is a hotel called the All Sports Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. What this hotel would be able to do if it got built would be to house not only professional sports teams from all the different types of sports.
What about an elf hotel where it's filled with elves?
Why are the sports teams all coming to Las Vegas to stay in a hotel?
Right.
No. I mean, they'd be able to play their home games there.
What?
What? But nobody. All right, listen,
property.
Eric, I will forward a letter to Mr. Trump that you write. Maybe you could do the pitch that way.
Okay.
Eric, thank you, though. It's a brilliant idea.
What do you think of that? A sports hotel?
For the sports teams to play their home games in.
Right.
Well, it's sort of a complicated idea. I'm trying to figure out how many home games do we need in Las Vegas.
Why don't you tell him?
The sports franchises are trying to stay out of Las Vegas, not in Las Vegas.
Why don't you tell him he's fired?
Eric?
How about?
Are you there, Eric?
Yes.
Eric, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. We're only kidding, Eric. You're not fired.
All right, Eric, give me it in a letter and I'll send it to Mr.
You need a
Trump.
job to get fired.
Right. Hold on, Eric.
Jackass.
Let Eric write that in a letter. All right, listen. Good luck with
The idea for a sports franchise in Vegas at that time in 2005 was probably not something anyone would want to do because the franchises were putting up this facade that they had nothing to do with gambling.
Yeah, well, this is what you call a revolutionary. This is someone who is ahead of their time. You understand?
You're 100% right, because in 2018, the law banning sports betting outside of the traditional places that there's 4 states that had it, was overturned. And that opened up the door for a lot of opportunity in Vegas, particularly, and a sports franchise from his area does move to Vegas. So a lot of people in the Eric the Actor community believe that Eric was sort of had an ability to predict the future. But to me, I thought maybe he has more of a business insight, because this was a huge move, and Eric's all sports hotel would have been the first one there, and surely could have capitalized on the change in the law in 2018.
Yeah, Midgetamus. He predicted things nobody saw coming. And by the way, kudos to Eric for not going small on the pitch. Pardon the pun, but he could have been like, a clothing line or whatever, and he's just go a hotel, a 4,000 room hotel for athletes where none of their teams play in this city. Good for him.
And you see Trump doing the math, because he's trying to figure out how many home games they would have and how that would.
Well, let me just say, as a resident of Vegas for 12 years, if you would have told me, and people have asked when I was living there, do you ever think you'll have a pro team here? And I always used to say, not with the sports books. It's too risky. There's too much potential for a team to throw a game that, the quarterback went and made a fucking bet, at the sports book on the outcome. But what do I know? I'm not Eric.
Yeah, because no one was gambling outside of Vegas throughout the entire course of sports. So could you bet on UNLV when they played there?
I don't think you could.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Although, you know what? I may be wrong, because I remember there was a story. They were playing a football game, I believe, against University of Wisconsin, and Wisconsin was about to score. The game, they were beating the shit out of them, but I think they needed, if they scored again, then the spread wouldn't have covered.
Okay.
I don't bet sports, so I don't know exactly.
No, I'm following you.
So mysteriously, the power went out in the stadium with like 7-8 seconds left, and they're on the goal line ready to score, and the power goes out. And the story was that somebody hit, a transformer or something, a car hit something, and the power went out. But I remember, like, I think it was like a week or two later, some journalist out there did a story that there was never any car accident that they talked about. Like, it was just old school Vegas, flip the switch, So who knows, man? Yeah,
and if you think about the fact that Eric is not only talking to Mr. Trump, as Howard would put it, who's an A-list celebrity, who's a billionaire at the time, he's able to come up with a pitch pretty much on the spot. I mean, I don't think that Eric would have known calling in that he was going to be pitching something to Mr. Trump at the time.
Hey, even if he was, it's still a great job on his part to roll, that's a heavy hitter's room you're walking into right now, and their only job is to shoot down your shit.
Yeah, Howard tried. I mean, he tried to interject, and us in the community don't like that when Howard tries to put Eric down. He's, it was in an Elf Hotel. I mean, how original can that be?
My favorite is Robin going, what? Huh? And get what? Yeah.
So each week I'm trying to do a segment on Shuli's Fight Club. For some reason, man, you've pretty much fought 5, 6, 7, 8 people I've seen so far. Last week we went through your fight with Stuttering John. Who knows if there's going to be a round 2 or 3, or maybe you guys can reconcile.
This was back before I committed to taking the high road in life. So
I know you're so
not too many fights now.
You're so classy now. You got a new media company. You're getting rid of old Vince here and the program. You're too bourgeois for us now. But we are going to enter Shuli's Fight Club this week with your fight with Doug Goodstein. I noticed something. I listened to Doug and Scott. They were on Stuttering John's podcast last week. And for some reason, when Doug interacts with Scott, he's so subservient to him. Was Scott Doug's boss or something? Or is there something that I'm picking up there?
I mean, Scott was the director, but Doug was the exec producer, and when things needed to get done, Doug was the guy who was the conduit between the show and In Demand, I believe it was, when I was there. I know there was before I got there, but I don't necessarily think he was Doug's boss. I think they were at the same level, if anything.
Okay, because when they're together, Doug seems so subservient to Scott, not in a bad way.
I think it's a respect. I think it's a respect thing. I think he really respects Scott. I think listen, man, these guys were in a foxhole together for over 20 plus years, filming this, watching this thing progress. So you get a bond. There's family, there's camaraderie there. I think it's cute.
So Scott mentioned something on John's show. He said that he sold out of all the golf caddies that he for real, he did. So who
bought 7 golf caddies?
Is that insane. The right term? Is it golf caddy or something else?
No, it was the golf. Isn't it?
Either way, it was just.
It was a camera with a clamp on it.
Yeah, and
we sold out. Like he sat up all night working, like he was Tony Stark working on a fucking reactor.
Yeah, and again, it seemed to be a redundant product because when I see my friends that they video themselves, this is before the golf caddy. Was it video caddy or golf caddy? They would just use a tripod or
video caddy.
Video caddy? No, because whatever. We'll figure it out. But the coolest thing is, to redeem himself, and this is serious. He told John during the time when John allowed them to pitch a new product that he has a new business, and this is for real. He said that somehow he's able to offer a service to golf clubs where he can fly some robot that has a camera attached to it over their golf course to take video of it so they can use it in promotional products. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's called a drone. It's 2021. I don't know if you've ever heard of this thing, but they sell them at Radio Shack. Dude, I don't know what to tell you.
I shit you not. Like, he's pitching this to, or telling this to John, and I go, Scott, that's the drone. Like, my son can do that. He's serious. Like, that's the business that he has. But then at the end, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm unemployed. I'm looking for another job as well. So not only has the inventor of the golf caddy sold out, but he definitely has a new invention, and it's one where you can fly this robot over a golf course that has a video camera attached to it and can take a video of the course.
Well, here's a little bit of an exclusive for you, Vinny. I have spoken to one Scott DePace recently, and I've spoken to one Doug Goodstein recently, and I have spoken to one Brian Phelan recently. And yours truly is going to be putting together a little Howard TV reunion show where we're all going to get together Here's the rules. You got to have some drinks. You got to have some smoke, whatever your poison is, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna just tell old war stories, and we're gonna laugh our asses off. And I can't wait to do it. These guys, I've experienced some of the most fun shit in my life with these guys there documenting it. So I'm excited to go back down memory lane. And yes, we will definitely be talking about the baby clothes incident for sure.
Yeah, we're going to get into that fight. I don't understand what their issue is. They are upset because Howard supposedly fired them on the air. And then that's how they found out about it. And then Howard was going to use them for his birthday show, but he ends up not using them. And it's post their termination, and they're kind of upset that they weren't invited to Howard's birthday party. Were you at that birthday party?
I was in the balcony manning my whack pack squad.
Yeah, so there's always these rumors that it didn't sell out. Is that true?
No, that thing was packed.
Yeah, because you hear a lot of people say that I think even Doug makes that reference, or Scott, that they were, not only were they not invited, that the tickets were being given out to people on the street. Now, I mean,
that could be the case. I wasn't outside, so I don't know. But I can tell you that when the show started and I was in that balcony and I looked up and looked around that entire theater, there was no empty seats. It was packed with people.
So
I'm not saying they're not right. I don't know. I don't know what happened outside. I was inside.
After the in-demand people were gone, I had clients go up and appeared on the show, and somehow they would send me video of the video that was being taken of them after in-demand was gone. Was there just someone else manning a camera after they left?
Well, I mean, with TV production, when you have a setup like Howard has, to take stuff out, you literally will have to pay to, gut the studio again and then rebuild it again, because there's stuff on tracks, there's stuff, bolted into the ceilings, all kinds of shit. So, yeah.
I meant the fact that they were recording the...
Well, that's what I'm saying. So there's equipment left over that is still operational. And I think at the time, while they weren't 100% sure of this app, and if they were, if this thing they were thinking of doing was possible, at that time they were stockpiling stuff for later use. So there was, but it was very, archaic. It was like one camera shoot type thing, and it wasn't every single show, every single episode. I think they did it for interviews and stuff, or like in studio bits or something.
Yeah, because ultimately I also have someone who lives in my building who works on the technical side, and I would always make fun of him because the app sucked, right? So like if I wanted to see high pitch on a show on YouTube, I just search for it and I get it. Mm-hmm. The app was so bad when it came to actually having content and then having it searchable. I don't know if it changed. I mean, this is 5 years ago. My friend in the building that I live in was developing that app. But to me, it just never made it past YouTube. So moving on to your fight with Doug Goodstein. Doug had offered to give you baby clothes. It's very common, people that have kids. You accepted. You took the clothes. We all know that part. There comes a time when Marlo, Doug's wife, that's her name?
Mm-hmm.
Is she really that hot as everyone makes it out her to be?
I don't know. I've never met her face to face. Oh, actually, I think I met her years ago at the Christmas party.
Well, she met you. She was looking at your Facebook, all the pictures up and down, and she noticed that you had a car seat. Now, in addition to the clothes, she gave you a car seat, and she noticed that the car seat that you were using was not the one that she was given. So most likely what happened is she told Doug that she wants to have it back, to get that car seat back. And then that leads us to the big fight. But to me, you were great in this bit because you brought all the clothes in, and we'll show that video. And you also returned it, and I love that you took it right out of the bag and threw it all down. And then you look like you almost got into a fight with Doug.
Where I had to bring my
You're
fucking
just an
wife
ingrate.
and
You're just a fucking ingrate.
I'm an ingrate.
You
You're the
are.
motherfucker
You're an
who
ingrate.
texts me that I'm a cocksucker.
Don't put your finger in my face.
Really?
I'll
What are you
knock
gonna
you the
do?
fuck out.
Do it.
Oh my
do it.
God.
You're a fucking pussy. You're a fucking pussy. You fucking. You're the worst fucking kind of. Because you sit there and the real you comes out when you're fucking mad.
The real
you don't have
you.
to come in. You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna
You're
do
not
shit.
gonna do shit. What are you gonna do?
The
Scratch
fuck
me?
am I gonna do?
Little
I'll
girl.
take it right here on the chin, and
Sit
then
in the
I'll own
baby
all the
seat.
fucking clothes
Sit
you
in the
kids
baby
have.
seat. Sit here.
Fucking
Sit in the
jerk
seat.
off.
Sit in the baby
You
seat.
take that fucking seat.
sit in
Take
there,
it.
you
Take it
little
home to
baby.
your wife and shove it all up
Sit
your
in
fucking
there.
ass.
Sit in the baby seat, little girl.
Need you like a fucking
Sit in
hole
there,
in
little
my
girl.
fucking head.
Sit in the seat, little girl.
All right, calm down.
I'm the little
baby.
girl.
Yeah,
You're
let
the
me
one.
carry you out
Oh,
of
can
here.
we have the clothes back if you don't mind? I give you an answer. The next day, your wife fucking emails my wife. Oh, I didn't understand Doug's answer.
'Cause I
the
don't
fuck out of
fucking
my
know.
life. The fuck out of my life. What do I need you for? Fucking Goodsteins.
Sit in the car seat. Let me carry you out. I'll
You're
strap
such
you
a
in,
prick.
little baby.
There's not one person out there that thinks you not only normal, but it's such a classless fucking thing you did.
All right,
No,
Hamza,
no, it's just
yeah.
brutal listening to what an asshole I was.
No, you're fine, dude. Because I thought it was great, and I also like Doug's response as well. He's playing it really cool. Which
Yeah,
I always
that was
wish I
good.
could do that. I just can't fucking do it in the middle of a fight.
Yeah,
I can't stay
yeah.
cool like that. Now, Doug, we know back in the day he was into powerlifting a lot, as I am right now.
He
But
was?
He was. So like
you
yeah,
are? What?
Yeah. So
Okay, can I say I'm into powerlifting too, since we're all making shit up?
can you press a barbell with weights on it for no apparent reason, straight up in the air?
Of course.
And then you're a
but I have
powerlifter.
nothing to prove to you. I know
Yeah,
I can
it's,
do it.
it's all ego when it comes to bench pressing. There's no point in doing it. So, but Doug was pretty big. This is before he was married. And here, I look at the two of you, and then Ronnie comes in. So it's you, Ronnie standing in between you, and obviously yourself. The name that I came up with, Goodstein, Mund, and Egar. Goodstein, Mund, and Egar sounds like a law firm. Now, if you told me Goodstein, Mund, and Egar are representing me or doing my taxes, I would say okay, right? Maybe a little prejudicial when it comes to things like that, so I'll say yes.
Parking tickets. Yeah, you're
Anything. Yeah, I'm going to Goodstein, Mund, and Egar. They'll handle
good.
my case.
Goodstein, Mund, and Egon.
It's every Jewish mom's dream when they have a son, that they have a son that turns into a comedian, a cameraman, and a security guard, right?
That's right.
So what was the probability that actually became physical?
I don't know, man. I was pretty fired up. I was pissed because when he called me and here's what pissed me off the most is that my wife told me don't fucking take any clothes. Just say no. Just say no, thank you. And I have such a huge problem with saying no to friends, to people that I know. I feel bad, so I'm always trying to please people. So I said yes. And at that moment, I'm sitting there on the radio, and I'm fighting with this guy who I was friendly with up until this fucking thing happened. And neither of us, I'd like to think, want to be involved in this discussion over fucking baby clothes. So for me, it was like I was just more mad at my wife being right at that moment, and I should have just said no than anything else. And I got this guy in my face going, get in the baby seat. I'm like, oh, I'm ready. All I needed was for him to act first. I wasn't, I'm a smart Jew. I'm not throwing my job away on him. But
Yeah.
if he would have just touched me, shoved me, something, it had been on. I'd have got him in a headlock and power lifted Noogie right into his fucking Jew fro.
But props to Doug because, I mean, you'll see it on the video, but he is just playing it cool. He's just leaning up against the wall, telling you to go sit in the baby seat. I mean, that's a good response.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm not the most menacing looking, when this is threatening you, it's like, why is that accountant upset? It's not like people aren't scared.
Totally. I am so tough if there's like 3 people in between me and the other person, or like there's 3 cops in between us, then I'll talk a lot of shit. So it's like I become a lot tougher. Now, if you were Chuck Zito, is Doug telling you to get into the baby seat?
Oh, I hop in, no problem. I throw a pacifier in my mouth. I crap my pants. It works.
So Ronnie does come in. Do you think that was part of shtick, or he actually thought that you were going to potentially escalate this to something physical?
No, he knew. Ronnie knows me. He knew I was pissed, legit pissed. And I imagine, I wasn't out there, but I imagine like most days, somebody woke him up and then said, go inside and handle this.
Yeah, but so the three of you were standing. I thought Doug was taller, but I'm looking at you. Ronnie almost looks to be the tallest out of you three, and I know he wears those lifts. So, not to say that doesn't mean neither.
Wearing lifts. He's not wearing platform shoes. I don't know what you're looking at. There's no way Ronnie is taller than Doug and myself.
Yeah.
He might, with his little, hair that sticks up. He's taller than me by his hair, but not by much. And Doug, I think, is over. I think he's 6 foot, maybe.
Oh, really? Yeah. So he's just leaning back and playing it cool, like I said before. So when
I'm pretty sure I was looking up at him when I was threatening him.
When Ronnie comes in, there's been speculation that Ronnie is carrying a gun, he's carrying a taser. Do you have any insight into that?
I don't. I know he's carrying a chip on his shoulder, and he's had it for a number of years, and he's an angry fucking guy. That I can tell you.
Yeah, and he's on his way out. When I told you that when you moved to Alabama, it wasn't like I was being Nostradamus myself, but I thought that was it for you in the show. For him, I mean, he's got this plan to be in Vegas, and how long can you be someone's driver after all these years? I think it's time for him to move on as well.
Yeah, and when you say move on, like for him, it's retirement. Like it's to do nothing, and rightfully so. He's earned the right to do nothing and enjoy it. Go for it, man. You're moving to a great place. I mean, if there was anybody fit to live in Las Vegas, it's Ronnie Munt, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, he's either moving to retirement or death, right? He's getting up there in age, so there's not much more.
Well, some would say they're one and the same. So what are you gonna do?
That's true. So the way that this feud ends is that you dump all the clothes on the couch, which is awesome. And does Doug actually have to? I don't know if we ever see it, but does he have to scoop up all those clothes, or was there something else behind the scenes that we missed?
I didn't touch them. I didn't touch where they laid is where I left them, and eventually, maybe interns or somebody brought them to the back, but that was Doug's, and that was part of the thing where I was like, okay, you want your clothes back? Now you're gonna schlep them home like I had to schlep him here, except he drove to work. I took the train in. But there's a funny thing, little exclusive backstory. So I was doing Miserable Men at the time as well on Sunday nights with Bob Levy, Mike Morse, Mark Burns, and this whole baby clothes thing blew up. And when we did the show Sunday, we had calls. Mike Morse, who does great song parodies, had a bunch of song parodies. We took calls on it. We talked about it. We played song parodies. And then that Monday, I had a meeting in Tim Sabian's office with Doug, myself, and Tim. And I remember Doug saying, in the X amount of years I've done this show, I've never gotten a reaction like this from people. And I go, well, what does that tell you? Maybe it tells you that you're wrong in what you did. And he goes, they got my home address. They're mailing me baby clothes to my house. And I said, Doug, wow, that's funny. In no way am I condoning someone sharing your home address and sending shit to your house. I don't dig that at all. I said, I'm a parent. I wouldn't want that. So, and he basically, Tim and basically told us stop talking about it on Miserable Men, to just leave it, and we did.
Yeah, and Tim Sabian's another one who's gone. I think if I had a bet, I would say he voted for Trump. I don't know if that ties into anything, but who knows who he did.
I don't know about that, but I know he's a good kisser. Oh, hello. Is this on? I am so sorry.
The issue that we're going to get into in the next episode, besides Eric, is the whole Marcy Turk issue. Now, I am not one of these people that have this big conspiracy theory that Marcy Turk ruined the show. Obviously, you know who she is, right?
I'm familiar with her work. Yes.
Yeah. I don't believe that any one person can tell Howard where the show's going to go. I didn't stop listening because of Marcy. I wouldn't know who Marcy is unless people just keep bringing her up and up. And I know there's so many people that want to say that Marcy's the one who ruined the show, if the show is even ruined. Right? So that's
Sure.
That's got to be.
Depends who you ask. There's people that discovered the show, 2-3 years ago, 5 years ago, that love it. They don't know what the show was in the past, and maybe if they did, they wouldn't like it. Maybe Howard doesn't like it. There's a lot of factors here other than, I want an Oompa Loompa, Daddy. That whole mentality of like, sorry, you don't get what you want, man. But times change. Shit happens. You're more than willing to go out there and find something else that satisfies and fills that void.
Yeah, and that the video of the conference that you had relating to Marcy, but also really Howard was setting forth his new vision for the show. John used to imply, he never actually said, but that you were the one who recorded it and you were the one that released it. Now, clearly we could see you on the video in the audience, right? You were sitting in like the 4th or 5th row.
I don't mean to ruin John's detective agency and his private investigating firm that he has going on. But yes, if you see that video, you can clearly see my bald Jew head with the yarmulke bald spot sitting, about 4th row, I think, 3rd or 4th row.
Now, that doesn't mean that you didn't somehow break into the system, steal the video, then risk your livelihood to help John out by conveying this video to him, right?
None of that's true, but real quick, I just want to give a shout out to my sponsor. Thank you, GoPro. Anyways, what were you saying? No, none of that's true.
It looked like that Howard wanted to have that video, because it seems like the video's recorder has to be out in the open, and I presume that he would want to have the conference video, and you could show it to people that come in. You can use it as training. I have no problem with anything Howard said throughout that entire time, right? So this is Howard transitioning to a corporate phase. This is very common amongst corporations, and he's a smaller corporation, 65 to 100 employees, but this is not the show that people that I started to watch when there's only 5-10 people that are there. You have a huge conglomerate of people. Whether any of you guys in there liked it or not, this is how you have to act when you have a huge budget and you have to have a clear vision. And I get where Howard was going with the entire thing. I have no issue with it whatsoever. So I don't believe that Marcy Turk destroyed the show, and I don't believe that Howard's vision and that seminar was anything major at all. I think people that...
I was just going to say, let me say this regarding her, and we can dive into it a little more when we talk about it. But, my airtime dramatically increased on that show, I would say, the last 6-7 years. Each year, my airtime climbed up and up and up. More time in the studio, more days in the studio. For me, that was everything. That was my ultimate goal. The paycheck was great. But for me, it was about getting in there and being on the air with those guys, making them laugh, bringing something to the table. And she was instrumental in that. She was instrumental in me getting those opportunities. And, we didn't always get along, but she, a lot of people can say a lot of things about her, but I can tell you that, I feel that she believed in me. That to an extent where she gave me an opportunity to do my thing and run with it. And I don't know that other people got the opportunities that I got there. So, I don't have shitty things to really say about her. So then, it's just people have a hard time with things changing. I get it.
Yeah. So maybe I am wrong then, because if she was instrumental in putting you on more, then probably that is the reason the show made a huge downturn, and maybe the fans are right and I'm wrong, and I'll sit corrected on that issue. But
and let me apologize as well that about the shirt comment earlier. I actually had a shirt like that, but I stopped paying guys to shit on my chest. So
I accept that apology, and I'm happy that we're able to discuss, Eric. We discussed Trump, and we discussed your fight with Doug in Shuli's Fight Club, and next week we're going to have a different competitor that you had, and I'll keep that as a mystery for the fans. So
next week we're gonna have a different competitor that you're gonna. I'm trying the Doug thing. Oh, get it. Well, pull up your green screen, baby.
there was one comment Doug made that I picked up on. I think you did too, where it basically implies that you were being ungrateful, because he said that he gives clothes to other people that they were grateful for it. He makes that comment. So it was a passive aggressive comment to you, basically saying you're ungrateful for not accepting the clothes. And you pick up on it during this fight. And
well, you know us midgets, we don't like being called ungrateful. You know, that's our kryptonite.
And lastly, you did make a comment about how two Jews fighting over used baby clothes may perpetuate the stereotype of Jewish people. I don't know what you're referring to. Yeah.
That's a great line. Wow. I impressed myself. That's really funny. And no anti-Semitic cartoon could do as much damage as two Jews arguing over used baby clothes.
And then the Jewish security guard rolls in, who's smaller than both you two, and probably like 30 years older. I don't know what he plans on doing.
And dreams of being Italian, by the way. Let's just throw that out.
And that's why we call him a Jew-gene. Cugene being the term, the Italian word for cousin, and obviously put Jew in front. Jew-gene there's so many Jew-genes on Long Island. I mean, he is from Suffolk County. So fans don't know, Long Island, as you go east, it goes from Nassau to Suffolk County, and although Suffolk County has the Hamptons, most of the inland towns where Ronnie's from, like Islip and all the other places, have a lot of either Jewish or Italian. You can't tell them apart. So when I was growing up, being Jewish meant nothing. I mean, it was not an issue. But when you leave this area, people have never even met a Jewish person. So I never even knew why it was an issue. But yeah,
here's how you know you meet an Italian person. They don't know how to wrap up a podcast. Let's go.
Okay.
What the hell's wrong with you?
All right. So next week we're going to be discussing moving through the years with Eric the actor, and we'll also come into Shuli's Fight Club as well.
Okay, Shuli, you are annoying the fucking hell out of me. Listen to me, you four-eyed sack of shit. I am not childish. I am not annoying. I'm not delusional. I'm not ungrateful. I'm not any of that fucking shit that you and the others have put labels on me. Get it through your head. That is not me. And, as far as your little show, you can take that and blow it out your ass. So until the next video, bye for now. And I'm not a pussy, fucker. Oh, that came out wrong. I'm not a pussy, you fucker. There, that's the right way to say that.